Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Dallas City Council meeting for Monday, April 15, 2024. Secretary, please call the roll.
Council President Schilling.
Here.
Councilor Adams.
Here.
Councilor Barrientos.
Here.
Councilor Briggs.
Here.
Councilor Collins.
Present.
Councilor Fitzgerald.
Here.
Councilor Jantz.
Here.
Councilor Sheen.
Here.
Councilor Burden.
Here.
Everybody's here. Okay. Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Next on the agenda is some proclamations I'm going to read to you. Arbor Day proclamation, whereas on 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and world, and whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas Dallas is proudly a Tree City, USA, planted over 100 trees in public grounds last year to add to the many trees that have been planted by our citizens, and whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community, and whereas trees wherever they are planted are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Kenneth L. Woods Jr., Mayor of the City of Dallas, do hereby proclaim April 26, 2024 as Arbor Day in the City of Dallas, and urge all citizens to celebrate this fine day by planting and caring for trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Signed this 15th day of April, 2024. The next one is called the Building Safety Monthly Proclamation. Whereas the City of Dallas, Oregon is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and essential role of our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play both in everyday life and when disasters strike, and whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, and work and play. And whereas these modern buildings codes include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our communities, largely unknown protectors of public safety, our local code officials, who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas Mission Impossible, the theme of Building Safety Month 2024, encourages us all to raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. And whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to us by local and state building departments, fire prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property. Now therefore, I, Kenneth L. Woods Jr., Mayor of City of Dallas, Oregon, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2024 as Building Safety Month. Accordingly, I encourage our citizens to join us as we participate in Building Safety Month activities. Signed this 15th day of April 2024.
So Mayor, before we move on to the next item on the agenda, our Parks Manager, Jennifer Ward, is here. And if it's okay to invite her to come up and talk about what we're planning on doing for Arbor Day this year.
Sure. Come on up, Jennifer.
Certainly, thank you. We have a full day of activities planned. We're going to start out with a service opportunity at City Park. We're going to be doing some ivy removal, removing them from the trunks of trees because they can really suffocate trees. So that'll be from 9 to 11. Overlapping with that, starting at 10, will be our first session of forest therapy. This is going to be held at the Arboretum. Forest therapy is a multisensory approach to being in nature and experiencing nature. It's very relaxing. It's very therapeutic. We got a grant to be able to cover the cost of the therapist coming down from Portland. And so we're able to offer a session at 10 a.m. and also at 1 free of charge. So people do need to register, but it's free to whoever would like to participate. And then in between, we will have a guided walk for children using our new Track Trails brochures, focusing on trees, and that will be in the Arboretum as well.
Any questions?
Where can people find information about all of this?
Sure. So it's on the website. It's in the activities guide, and registration goes straight through me, so they can call me or email me.
Where do they find this fine booklet?
Those will be being mailed out. In fact, they've gone out in the mail already. So everybody in the city of Dallas should be receiving that at their home sometime this week. We will also have lots of copies that will be available at the library, at the Aquatic Center, here at City Hall. And if you have a business that you'd like to stick them out at, I'm happy to make some available to you.
Any other questions for Jennifer?
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you. So the next on the agenda is public comment, and I have one person who would like to talk, Ann Hurd.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Ann Hurd, 623 Southwest Hayter Street, and I'm president of Friends of the Dallas Aquatic Center. And we had Wake Up Wednesday on April 3rd. Now, if you don't know what Wake Up Wednesday is, we joined the Chamber of Commerce as a nonprofit. And so once a year, every business in the Chamber of Commerce has an opportunity to host a Wake Up Wednesday. And Wake Up Wednesday is from 8 to 9 a.m. And we provide coffee and donuts or something to snack on. Donuts are the most popular. And then different representatives from businesses or other nonprofits come to Wake Up Wednesday. This Wednesday, it's at St. Thomas Episcopal Church. We're also a member of the Dallas Chamber of Commerce. But at the pool, we had about 35 people who came to Wake Up Wednesday, which was pretty good. And we had about the same number last year when we did it. But this year, after we had the introduction and we always ask a question, like kind of an icebreaker. What do you like to do most on the water? And paddleboard, kayaking, fishing, swimming, picnicking, So that was kind of fun. And then we took them on a tour around the perimeter of the pool. That pool was so full at 8:15 Wednesday morning. I was shocked. I know that there are a lot of people that come early, but there were a lot of people there. And of course, over half of them had never even been to the pool before. So we walked around the perimeter and I carefully pointed out all the banners that are on the wall. If you need a banner, talk to me. And we went all the way around and saw all the different pools, the kiddie pool and the fish pool where the lifeguards keep an eye on everything. And then the donor board, they were very interested in the donor board and the memorial banners we have up above the donor board. We had 3 memorial banners, actually 4, one for Buchanan's, for Buck and his wife, and then for Paul Mannon, who was there from the beginning of the pool, and George Thompson, a teacher at the high school who served in World War II, and then Glenn Scatterday, who was also a member of the city council, and his wife donated $10,000 for the therapy lift that we spent $3,000 installing along the therapy pool. And that's been wonderful for people who are partially paralyzed or just need extra help getting into and out of the therapy pool. So that was great. And then we went back into the room and finished up the donuts and the coffee and chatted and gave announcements, and then they all left. And then we had our annual meeting, because we have to have it in April. And we had 5 people come. The reason we had 5 people come is we got the email list from the city. And Dean Sprague, who taught me how to be a ham radio operator in this very room, is our media communications guy. He sent the email out about that annual meeting to 4,600 people. Gosh, I don't know how he does it. But anyway, 1,500 responded. So I said, well, Dean, let's just send it out to those 1,500 people from now on. There's no point in sending it out to all these old addresses or whatever they are. So anyway, we're making a lot of progress, kind of getting our ducks in a row on our website and our email list. And we're having an executive meeting this week also to go over all of our goals for the future. It's been 5 years now, my goodness. So it's pretty exciting. And I thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ann. Is there anybody on the phones? No. Okay, thank you. Next thing on the agenda is the consent agenda. And that is the approval of the April 1st, 2024 work session meeting minutes, approval of the April 1st, 2024 city council meeting minutes, March 2024 financial report, and recommended approval of the OLCC full on-premise liquor license for Forest Pass Brewing Company. Is there anything you wanted to discuss or take off? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Carried unanimously. Next is reports or comments from the mayor and council members. It's a lively group tonight. Nobody wants to talk about the budget or anything? Did you read it yet?
Actually, I will,
Okay.
since you brought it up. I just want to thank Cecilia again for an awesome presentation and encourage all of our public to join the budget committee when there's openings, because it is very well put together and it's a great learning experience.
Okay, that's it. We'll move right along. Reports from city manager and staff.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Woods. So we have one item on the agenda for that tonight, and it's an update on 791 Main Street, and that is the former Bank of America building. I'll invite our Economic and Community Development Director, Charlie Mitchell, to come up and give that presentation.
Thanks, Brian. Mayor and council, Brian and I just thought it'd be a good opportunity to give you guys an update on kind of what's going on with the building over there. Really kind of 2 major things about ready to happen. We're about ready to award a contract to demolish the building, and if we stay on track calendar-wise, that should occur in July, so be prepared for that. It'll probably take 2 to 4 weeks for that project to be complete, so there might be some disruption in that part of the downtown with parking, et cetera. Hopefully we'll be done before our main summer festivity occurs at the end of the month. And then the other big thing is we're about ready to award a contract for a consultant to really guide staff in the community through a design and feasibility study process, which will ultimately lead to the selection of a contractor to actually sell the property, a developer, I'm sorry, to make that next transition from the city's ownership to private ownership to build something really, really cool. And so many of you, some of you will be involved in that process. We want it to be very publicly engaging. We want it to be very transparent, and we want broad community support of the project. So that's going to be part of the directive that the consultant's going to be working from. And then, of course, at the end of the day, once we've gone through that process and we've selected a developer and we transition the property and they build something there, of course, the goal is to provide a project that provides as much property tax revenue back to the agency as possible, and ultimately back to the city's general fund once the agency sunsets in however many years that is. So that's kind of what we're looking at. We got some good proposals for the design feasibility work. We're in the process of scoring those right now. Got four proposals. Actually had a tie. We had three of us score them, and we ended up with a tie for first. So we're going through and checking references now on those two consultants, and we may have some kind of a tiebreaker sort of a system that we're going to have to deal with, which is a good problem to have. They're both very high quality consultants. So.
I have a nickel in case you need to borrow one
Is that what that
to
is?
flip.
So anyway, I'm here to answer any questions you have. Those kind of what we're doing right now.
David?
Yeah, how much stuff were we able to salvage out of the interior?
It's a good question. That salvage operation is still in process. It will wrap up at the end of May. The big item was, of course, the counter, which is now living at the Aquatic Center. The other things are all just small things like fixtures and different hardware and things like that.
Furniture, that kind of thing?
There wasn't any furnishings really left in the building. The biggest challenge that our facilities guys are running into right now is where to store all the stuff that they're salvaging. And so I know they're having to get creative because they can't store it in the building, obviously, because the building's going to be torn down. I also neglected to mention that during the month of June, police and fire are going to be using the building for training purposes. And so that's kind of the last, we're going to tear it all up before it gets torn down. So that'll be kind of our last big thing. And we'll be actually erecting security fencing around the building perimeter beginning in June. So that whole site will be essentially secure from the public for probably close to 2 months.
Yeah, so David, Councilor Shane, a couple of the other items that we were able to salvage were doors, light ballasts in the building, and then ceiling tiles. So that's some of the larger pieces that we're having a hard time storing. But we were able to take a lot of that out. It was estimated that there was probably around $40,000 to $45,000 worth of materials that we have taken out of the building. Was the estimate that facilities
That's
gave us.
worthwhile.
Yeah, very worthwhile. I was really proud of our facilities guys for doing that. And if you know anyone that wants a whole bunch of safe deposit boxes, boy, do we have a deal for you.
Yeah,
Left those behind, didn't they?
That's gonna be the biggest challenge, is I think getting those out of the vault. Because I think they were welded while they were in the vault or while the vault was being built.
Wouldn't be surprised.
And they are super heavy. And so if all else fails, we can sell them for scrap and probably make good money.
Kirsten?
Did I hear you say that you hope it'll be demolished and ready for Summerfest?
Correct.
Is this like Star Wars hope and it's going to come true, or is it?
Well, we haven't inked a contract yet with the contractor to do the demo. We can certainly put that in there as a condition, but we'll have to see what that does to the price.
What would the contingency, what would the backup?
If it wasn't done, well, it would just be off limits the way it is right now. You would just have a security fence around it.
Would we have to put up additional security to keep people out of there when there's a
I
Zoom?
don't think so. I mean, it's going to be a 6-foot high security fence. I don't think there's going to be any issue with it.
If it's adequate to keep them out during demolition, it's probably adequate for anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because the building extends up to the sidewalk on Court Street, maybe you may see that sidewalk being closed during demolition. Just so they can,
You mean mill?
or sorry, on Mill Street, yeah, Mill Street. The east-west street, I at least had that part right. On Mill Street, so I can anticipate seeing that sidewalk being closed during demolition. So that would be an impact for, the summer event. That being said, the summer event is being modified this year, so you're not gonna have as much activity at that intersection as you've had in years past. And so I think it'll be a good year to do this demolition because it's not gonna have as much impact on that event as it's been designed in the past.
But yes, we hope, but I can't guarantee you sitting here right now that it will be done by then, but we'll do our.
Guarantee isn't a word you use when you're talking about contractors.
Well, we'll do our best, and especially with the demo, one of the challenges with that building is the exterior material of that building is this styrofoam. There's a name for it, I don't remember, what is it called? Anyway, it's very messy when you go to take it apart, basically, so it's basically styrofoam. And so once you start,
They put 2 inches of styrofoam.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then what
it's
do
like
they-
It's like a big marshmallow.
So it's basically,
Stuck up over the top.
just styrofoam that's been painted over, basically?
Yeah, the paint's about a quarter inch thick.
yeah. So
And
it's,
it's really
And it absorbs liquids and waters, and there's probably a lot of mold and.
so it looks like, it looks like stucco, but it's not stucco.
Yeah, so really, it's like a mesh material that's applied over the styrofoam and then it's painted. And so the best way to remove it in a clean manner is to basically cut the mesh material, expose the styrofoam, and then it's just screwed in. So then you just go and unscrew each panel and pull it off and toss it. So you don't want to just like take a backhoe to the building because then you're going to send styrofoam material
Everywhere, yeah.
everywhere across Dallas, and we're not going to do that. So it's a tedious process to actually dismantle this building,
Never again.
which is why it may take more time.
How about an update on the banner poles?
Yeah, so as you drove into downtown, if you came from the north side of town, you might have noticed that our banner poles are reinstalled, and we put up a banner. I'm not gonna say that ODOT gives permission, because I don't think that's true. But a banner's up just to test it.
You were intending to.
I'm gonna wait for a complaint to come in. But we did have rods that would space the top and bottom wire. We're still trying to locate those or go purchase new ones. So it's a work in progress before it's perfect back to what it was. But yes, we'll start being able to rent out banner space for any organization that wants to put a banner across Main Street, starting again. So we're very excited about that. And are they insured, Emily?
I emailed our insurance agent today, it said added, so.
So they're insured.
Anything else?
No, I will mention just on the banner poles though, Bob Evans with Epcor Engineering and his company were the ones that made that. They did not make the original poles, but they did manufacture these ones, and they were just so giddy about it. They came down, they watched them be installed, they were just very excited. And it's just nice to have a local contractor be able to do a project like that that just gave them some good community pride. So that was fun to hear and see. That's it.
Okay. Any other business?